Hi guys, welcome back to another episode of the Navvai Shift. I do have a wonderful guest. Her name is Mariska, and she's the Vice President of Marketing for Enlighten. Mariska, how are you? You well?
Good. Really excited to be here, Joshua. And I think just the two of us will be just as exciting, no?
100%, 100%. Let's keep the energy throughout. So,
Indeed.
so for the people that are not too familiar with Enlighten and yourself, would you be able to give us just a brief introduction to yourself and Enlighten?
So I'm Mariska. I'm Dutch, but based out of the UK for a while now. And I work with Enlighten as Vice President for Marketing. And Enlighten is all about building sustainable, high performance edge data centers across Europe. And I know for some of the listeners, it's like, okay, what is a data center? So what I often say is that anything that is in your phone, any application, somewhere need to reside into a building on a computer, on a server. So that's what we're doing. We're hosting those environments where your applications can run smoothly without interruption and continuous connectivity.
Nice, nice. We know from speaking with a lot of guests, we know that data is, super important. But I wanted to ask, how is it Enlighten stands out from the crowd or stands out from the competition?
So I think there's three things that really are the core of our existence, and we kind of link it to the words close, coupled, and connected. So close is about being physically near our customers. So when there is 5 million people in a 40-kilometer radius, we think there's sustainable, enough of business for us to have a data center. So that is about the close, being close to the edge. Then coupled. So we really think that we have a mission, or we need to be thinking about building sustainable data centers with heat reuse, renewable energy, and really an efficient design. And lastly, about being connected. So this is about having a data center, an ecosystem with carriers, cloud, and partners that are connected and that give a digital platform for all of those applications to run smoothly.
Nice. The three C's.
Three C's, yeah.
Was that embedded in the company from like the very beginning, or was it something that was like as time went on, they were like, these are the three, this is our goal here, this is what we want to be known for?
So our founders, Chet McCarthy and Haro Beusker, they did have a good brainstorm just a few years ago in 21, and they thought about building this business. And I must admit, from early on, they thought about those three pillars. I think we changed the word coupled. It was originally green, but I think, when we talk with sustainability professionals and we started going on this journey, we realized that green is not so much a term that is seen as the most relevant term for the efforts that we do. And that's why we changed it to coupled.
So, Mishka, you did mention the three C's. How do you actually communicate this message?
So I think that's a really good question, Darno. And I think you just joined here, so good to have you on the call as well.
Wrapping up another call, my bad.
Yeah, no, good. So indeed, when we talk about, the coupled is, those elements that are really building a sustainable environment. And when we say, how do we bring that to life? So for example, when my CEO has a conversation, he uses those three pillars in his conversation. When we do a newsletter, we build building blocks with news related to those three pillars. When we have a white paper, we always want to make sure that it touches on one of those three as a core element in the conversations. The case studies with our customers are all about one of those three pillars. So, for example, we have a customer which is Conscious Solution, which just signed up with us most recently. And they chose us because we are close to where their business is. They're in Bristol. They are in Bristol. They can come to the data center easily. Their applications are run smoothly in our environment. But the proximity, the closeness, was a core reason for them to choose us.
Yeah. So just touching on close, couple, and connected again, there's almost like a story behind it. And it's so interesting that I link the three C's to the stories, because I feel like some of the people that we've been speaking with recently who've been helping us, of course, with the business and the podcast, they've all been telling us about the story. It's just easy for people to resonate with. So I find it really impressive. It was just like
No, you're so right.
yeah.
Yeah, I think your podcast has a story as well. And I think it's lovely to see you as founders in this call and, building that story as well. And the same what we're doing with a business to business environment like us. And I think it is really about all of the departments that we have. They're close to what we're saying in our communications, with our customers, with our suppliers,
Yeah.
because it's definitely something that we see now in the industry as the core elements, building a platform that is not just in the centers like Amsterdam, London, but is at the edge, building a platform that is about sustainability coupled
Yeah.
and building a platform where we need different suppliers, a cloud supplier as well as a carrier. And that's the connectivity bit.
I'm sensing the synergies right now. Yeah.
Yeah, me too.
But Mariska, looking at the next 12 months, like what's the biggest growth opportunity for Enlighten that, excites you?
So I think just for understanding of the listeners here, we started in 21 and we started with 3 people. Now we're in 25, which is just like, 4 years later, and we're at 250 people. So, I think in the next 12 months, we'll be really accelerating growing our team. And it's not just about adding more people, but it's about adding more professional layers of running this business. So that means that we're able to get specific tasks in our finance team, in our customer service team, in our operations team. And that's all because we want to do a better job for our customers. So I think what you see is that it's the biggest challenge for us all is to see that we take the growth in steps, we do it diligently, and we continue to serve our customers with anything that we do.
There's quite a lot of things that excites you about it. On the flip side, is there any gaps that you're trying to tackle at the present moment?
I think me as a VP of marketing, and I've been with bigger companies where there's certain functions that are amazing to have, certain special, people that is amazing to have. And I think for me, the challenge is to see that I would like to go as fast as possible, but it's also about where you are in the maturity of a company and what you can do. So I think I need to find a way that I, stimulate my team to do their utmost, but I'm also looking at the balance that we have. I think we don't want to wear them out. We have some amazing people, so let's make sure that we give them a balance of work hard and play hard sometimes.
Yeah, nice.
So out of interest, Mariska, how do you go about hiring the best people then?
So the data center industry is a group of people that's not huge, So I was at an event last week in Cannes, and we were 4,000 people of the core leaders. So just imagine that in addition to those 4,000, there's probably multiple of other people adding, but we all kind of know each other. So obviously we learn from being in one company and then moving to the next. We recruit from our colleagues in the industry, our peers. But we're also trying to add people that are just coming from university. So, for example, in France, we have an amazing apprentice who started working with us 2 years ago and wasn't familiar with the industry. And now he's really doing a great job. So it's a mix about finding people that we know, that we see with our colleagues, with our peers, and trying to energize the new generation that data centers are really exciting.
Nice. I know you've not been at the company for very long, but you've done some amazing work at the company, hence your position. So I know you've done some work with the database, and you've boosted engagement, not by 20 to 70%. How do you use like data-driven marketing to, get exceptional results?
So I think indeed data is, you mentioned as well, data is so important. And when we say data, for us, it means, contacts, persons. We need a CTO from a company in Germany as well as, the engineer in France in our database. So it's not the abstract word of a data. We need persons in our database. And I think that also touches on how we grow that database. Is about giving them relevant content, giving them a newsletter with an article that they think resonates, that they will read, and that they might share with somebody that isn't part of our database yet. So it's organic growth through word of mouth, but also we use the SEO tools, we use the videos, we use events, digital campaigns, and that's how we grow our database. So that's why we were able to double our database in a year. And we're definitely growing our impressions of the people that are looking at our brand, looking at our websites, looking at our white papers, clicking on our newsletters every day. So it's great to see that growth happening.
Nice. I definitely feel like we're super relatable to that. Our email campaigns that are running, hence how we got you on this podcast, through the copy that was quite exceptional. Creating organic content that people resonate with. Sometimes people like on LinkedIn and social media, they like real organic content. And because we're in the AI space, we found that we recently created like a cheat sheet on how to just simply use artificial intelligence, and just the impressions that we got off that alone. It shows that, if you put out the right piece of content, it can help you grow your
Yeah,
database
that's
and
so
connects you
interesting.
with your target market a lot more. So
Yeah.
yeah,
So how much would you say AI has helped you, Joshua?
I would say there's a lot of tasks that we do on a day-to-day basis, right? And
Yeah.
for example, like we've used like custom GPTs to simply create out, like we call them growth plans, or we call them presentations. So like when we're speaking to clients, we like to present them with an actual solution on how we can help them. So instead of just, typing it in each time, we have a GPT that literally understands the structure of how we like every single presentation. And literally we can just put in a little piece of information with the person that we've spoken to, and it will literally build it all out. And then we can copy and paste that into another tool, and it actually builds
Yeah.
out that presentation, grammar. So yeah, but it helps us. It helps us a lot.
I think
Yeah, no, I think AI is changing our lives. Oh, Darren,
I
you
just
were saying there now.
wanted to add to what Josh said. I think because I'm like they call me the dancer dev because I'm the technical person of Navvai. So
Oh yeah.
I think the most significant impact it has in terms of actually reducing the amount of code I have to actually build. So say for example, I reckon it probably saves me about 50% of the time. Like it's not a joke. So I'm
Yeah.
very, very thankful for AI.
Yeah, it's amazing. And I think people sometimes are a little bit scared about AI. I'm not. I think we need to embrace it,
Yep.
but we also need to be conscious on how to use it, to look at guidelines and to look at, the sovereignty of data. Has it been tested? Has it been trialed? I still ask people, okay, do we have the source of whatever statement we use? So I think us as users of that information that is served to us by AI, I think we need to be, serving it well and making sure that when we present it to our external customers, we do our due diligence.
Yeah, absolutely. Because I think what we like to say as well is that AI it's not gonna like take over people's jobs, but more complement the job that you're doing. And I think
Yeah.
that's what we have definitely recognized. So obviously Josh gave his example of the growth plans. I gave my example of doing the code. So it's not that it's taking over your job, but it's literally just making you doing it a hell of a lot easier, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, totally.
So how is I have a question off the back of that now. So how is Enlighten actually using AI? Like, what's your plans? What's your vision in using it? Because I feel like there's so many. AI is very dynamic, and there's so many ways you can use it.
Yeah. And obviously, all different departments will use AI in different ways. So using it with marketing, the examples, just what you mentioned, scripts, white papers, blogs, we get a little help, translations, we're really helped well, but also in our data centers, I think AI tools can help us identify how we can be more diligent of certain heat in a data center or certain equipment being used more efficiently. So I think it's from the operations as well as from a finance, from a marketing perspective, we'll be using those tools to, to be more conscious and to make it all go a bit faster maybe.
Yeah, we found that guests that we speak to, they often tend to embrace, new ways to solve old problems. So how do you tend to find fresh strategies or, partnerships to drive Enlighten's growth?
I think with marketing, we're in a spot where we do have a lot of people with bright ideas, and they're not hesitant to try, So, and that's what I'm telling my team as well is like, try hard, fail fast, you know. I'm happy for you to give it a try. Try it for 6 weeks, 8 weeks, a new tool, a new concept, a new application. Give it to me, you give it a try, and I will never tell you you did wrong. We always are right to do and try. So I just say, give me a new tool and we try it. And then I also say 80% is good enough. We don't need to be amazing at everything. If we have 80%, it's good and we improve over and over again. So I think with those two core elements, we're able to give tools a try.
Nice. And is that something you're doing in-house, or have you looked at like external companies to assist?
It's a mix. So it's small things, eh? So I think most recently one of my team members came to me and said, "Okay, we have a boomerang idea." It's like, "Okay, tell me, what is the boomerang idea?" It sounds really exciting. I love Australia, so give me the boomerang idea. And it was really simple. What he said is like, "Okay, we have a lot of suppliers reaching out to us to sell to us. Why don't we offer a conversation with a C-suite person in Enlighten, but as a gift, we ask them to give a conversation with the C-suite in their organization." And it's a simple idea like that, eh? It doesn't need to be sophisticated always. So we're now trying that idea, and it means that we sometimes identify buyers in a supplier that we haven't talked to, and we might find a new supplier.
No, that's pretty impressive. So I know that you've scaled your team. Now, in terms of like tasks, is it something that you handle yourself, or do you tend to pass tasks on to other members of staff or use AI for it?
Yeah, so I think it's a mix. We are a small team. So we have a team that often have a field marketing role. So they're, related to activities on the ground in a certain market, as well as a specialism. So that means, for example, the person that runs field marketing in Germany is also our brand police. So she's monitoring anything related to brand. At the same time, obviously, in that role, she uses AI. Brand means websites, translations. That's where she used the AI. Same for me. Yes, I have a VP title, but I'm also the core person to manage the PR teams. So, we have a PR team here in the UK, and I work with them closely. And I think in that relationship as well, we use a lot of AI. So I think it's all of us. We're not just managing or, having teams. No, we always have a task that will keep us grounded and, so relevant for growing this.
I just have the feeling that your team they just all synergize together. They just work very well.
Yeah. No, it's a lovely team. I have a really nice team. They're super enthusiastic. And they're also coming from all different corners. And that's what I like. We have an apprentice who just, came from school. We have somebody who had maternity leave and came back recently and is flying again. We have somebody, he's with us in Amsterdam and has got a really long-lasting experience working with different companies on a different level. So I think it's a whole different mix of insights that I get from this team. And they give me energy, and I hope that I can give them a bit of energy to keep going.
Nice. That's super relatable. That's like, again, working with my co-founders is like literally every single day. Even sometimes we have calls at like, I mean, what time did we speak yesterday? At like 11, and everyone's just had energy. Like, it's 11 p.m.
That's amazing. Yeah. 11 is the time that, you wouldn't have the best energy mostly.
That's true. But sometimes I find that after I speak with these guys, my creativity is on like a different level. So sometimes I'm up even later than that. And then,
Yeah.
I know we end up having a call early in the morning, but I still feel pretty good.
I can imagine. That sounds great. I think that's what you need to have. What I always say, if you work here, I want you to come in with a smile and to leave with a smile. During the day, yes, there might be hiccups and moments that might not be so good, but you need to feel good about coming and you need to feel good when leaving. And if that's not the case, we talk and we see if we can find a solution. Because you spend so much time at the office or on calls that it's important to feel well and to be happy with where you are.
Yeah, that's true. That's nice. You would want that working for a company. And I wanted to ask, do you have any examples of where your team has like nailed a huge project together?
One thing is indeed social media. So when you start, I talk about the reverse pyramid, where we say, okay, we need to start talking to a lot of people to get our brand out. And that is PR, social media, databases, email campaigns. So we have our LinkedIn profile, and a LinkedIn profile is what it is, but we can, really accelerate it. So what we said, we want to double it in year 1 and we want to double it in year 2. And I think what you see is that the team is really putting everything behind to get those followers. And that means that they're doing, trainings. I had one team member step up and say, okay, I will be the one that does the training for our internal team. Another team stepped up, is like, okay, I will be the one that will do the designs, the visuals, the videos. Another one stepped up and said, okay, I will make sure that, we do the translations and we make it relevant when we talk to a person in France as well as person in Germany. So all of those things came together, which shows now that it's now, June? We're already at 88% growth of our followers in 25. So that means that we probably hit doubling our numbers in a month.
Yeah.
So I think our ambition
That's impressive. That is impressive.
Yeah.
Nice.
And I think that's a team effort, because we all believe that getting our brand out there on social media, other platforms, is what will make us glow.
I was just going to say, like, absolutely. I feel like we can definitely attest to that, because we was founded roughly around 5 months ago, and obviously our followers have been a steady growth as one of our views. And I think from then we've kind of realized we get like a lot of referrals and people coming in naturally as well. So I did want to ask if you've kind of experienced the same thing. Like, has your increase in followers translated into more referrals for the company?
So I think for us as a B2B, we do see interactions, we do see impressions, but LinkedIn is maybe not the one where we get the most contact asking for, a conversation. So we do see that with a follow-up of, email campaigns, the face-to-face at events, we get good traction. But I must admit is that probably not LinkedIn where we get the most referrals.
So I think what we have kind of experienced, which has been, I don't know, we didn't anticipate this, because obviously we have our podcast, we post it on LinkedIn, and it's just like more people obviously, oh yeah, I want to jump on a podcast, I want to give my views and expressions, and then from there we've actually formed partnerships and conversations just through the following going, and then the reach growing, and then that's how I feel like the referrals has been kind of indirect, if you know what I mean. It's been a weird experience.
It's almost like we're just getting inbound leads. It's pretty impressive. We didn't think it would happen, but it's just happening organically.
And I also believe it's about your personality, yeah? Because if you're as a person are active on a platform instead of you as a company, I think that makes a big difference.
100%.
And I think that's where we're trying to see, okay, how can we make our corporate handle, which is indeed really corporate, more personal? Because we want our founders to be interacting. We want our sales members to be interacting. And I think that's probably the advantage that you have, that you're so close to that company and you're engaging yourself so much.
Yeah, no, that's so true. Yeah, that's actually something that we highlighted to one of our clients. Actually, is we basically highlighted to him that he should highlight a spokesperson within the business to utilize. Well, just to be the face of the company, or it can be the person that's on the social media platforms speaking, providing information, creating reels, and just being that person. So yeah, we just relate to that actual specific scenario of actually building like a personal brand. So of course, I know you got the main company, but having an actual individual that people can go to and they can see the face of, just makes them resonate with the brand a lot more.
Yeah, just to add just to add on the back of what Josh said, I feel like people, they don't fall in love with the company, they fall in love with the person, because obviously the person, you can speak to them, you can understand their personality, and as you said, Mariska, it's like people fall in love with the personality, how you talk to them, how you converse. So I feel like that's one of the biggest lessons we've learned, is that not to promote the company brand as much, but then to like repost something that we put on the company, talk about it and give our own personal view. So that obviously it can be three of us. I can give my view, Joe can give his view, and then Damari, who's the third co-founder, can give his view. And it's like three views that kind of circulate around. I feel like that's given us a lot more traction.
I agree. I think that's amazing. I think I can definitely learn from that and talk to some people here to get them the spokesperson role.
If Damari was on this call, he definitely would have said by now, people will buy from you if they like you, know you, and trust you.
Yeah.
So that's just to round that up.
Totally. No, that's so right. I think that's a close summary of what we need to be. I think you need to be trustworthy and the company need to be trustworthy, and I think that's what we need to realize as well in Enlighten. We have big ambitions, but I think we're honest to our customers to say we're not there yet. We still need to build heat reuse projects in markets. Yes, we have one in Frankfurt. We're looking at a few others. They're probably going to happen this year, but bear with us. I think that's about building trust, not overpromise.
So true, so true. I did want to highlight one thing. So I know you guys are global, probably fair to say. I was just going to ask, where is it you're based?
So I'm based in London. Our headquarters is in Amsterdam, and we currently have 34 locations across Europe. So we're in 7 markets. We're in the UK, Netherlands, Belgium, France, Spain, Switzerland, and Germany. And we have a big ambition to go to 100 sites in 3 or 4 years. So that's a growth path.
That's absolutely impeccable. I'm pretty confident that we can help you towards that mission. And yeah, there'll be a lot of longevity within this relationship that we have.
Yeah, I love that. Sounds good.
But Mariska, I wanted to ask, right? So having worked in data centers for large firms to scale ups, what industry shifts are you seeing or what do you anticipate coming?
I think it's, one thing which is really exciting is about the fact that, the edge platforms, as in not just having data centers in a London, a Frankfurt, or a Paris, but having it where there's, a good group of businesses and people within a certain proximity of a data center makes sense. And I think it's not just us saying it, but it's also the hyperscalers saying that. And the hyperscalers are, the Googles, the Amazons, those ones. And I think it's lovely to hear that what our founders thought was a business concept 4 years ago is now resonating in the market. So I think that's one thing that I'm really excited about. I think the other thing is about sustainability. We're able to drive that, but we see that a lot of companies and data centers are on that path to think about heat reuse, generation on site, efficient operations. And it's on a different level than what I have seen in my previous company. So I'm really excited about that as well.
Nice, nice, nice. I feel like you haven't covered it entirely. What's one goal Enlighten's, chasing that shows future impact?
It's a good question, Joshua. Let me give you an answer. So I think in the industry that we're in, there's a lot of competition, with, people that are, aiming or fighting for space, for power. I think for me, the ambition is that there's a place for us all. There's a place for a hyperscaler. There's a place for an edge player. There's a place for, the data centers that are in the Nordics. So I think for me, the ambition is to see that we work together and we make those connections to actually serve our customers, who run or who use those applications even better. So I think that's an ambition to create a space where we have a digital platform across different players that serve customers.
Right, I take. Well, Mariska, I want to say thank you. It's been an absolutely great podcast. You've dropped a lot of gems, a lot of gold. I'm definitely going to rewatch this one over quite a few times. Sure, we all will. Guys, that's been another episode of the Navvai Shift. Thanks for hopping on.
Thank you so much.
But yeah, guys, that's been another episode of Navvai Shift. We've been joined by Mariska. She dropped some incredible information. And if people wanted to find out a little bit more about yourself, Mariska, or Enlighten, where could they find you?
So obviously our website, enlighten.com or on LinkedIn, start following us, drop us a note, do the form fill, and we'll be delighted to talk to you.
Perfect stuff. We will link that.
And thank you so much, Joshua and Darnell. It was such a pleasure to be part of this podcast. I really enjoyed it.
Happy
Thank
that
you
you
for
did.
joining, Mariska.
Yeah, thank you. All right, guys, that's wrapped up. Nice.